What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about none other than the goddess herself, Nakaruru, otherwise known as this game's worst nightmare right now, because this character is absolutely freaking bonkers broken, and we're just going to talk about my impressions of this character at A1 of all things, because yeah, this character at A1 outperforms characters at A5 in a measurable way, which is pretty impressive, mostly from a power creep standpoint. Good job, Netmarble. But before we go ahead and get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe, and let's just go ahead and gush about Nakaruru. So this character, right off the bat, for those of you who did not see my summon video last week for these characters, I am very happy to have. I love this character. This is a character that has a lot of sentimental value to me. This is a character I've always told you guys I like a lot, and I'm very, very happy she's here. Now, when it comes to her implementation, I'm happy that she's busted, don't get me wrong, but damn, did they go all out with this character. Now, I'm sure most of you have already seen a lot of content out there about this character, so mostly what I'm going to tell you is not going to be anything that's probably going to surprise you, but I did want to go ahead and give you guys my opinions of this character now that I have had about a week or so to play around with her, because yeah, like I said, she's pretty stupid. Now, first and foremost, you guys, this character's leadership ability is very good. That's great. This character has a great leadership ability. She's very self-reliant. She doesn't really have to have any teammates whatsoever. If you get her to A1, she's gonna be able to just walk all over everything. Don't let her stature fool you. She'll be able to walk all over you. No problem whatsoever. So, first up, let's talk about why this character is so broken. There's a couple of different things that are going on here. Now, most people probably already know, but it is worth mentioning the critical rate and damage, the fact that those two things have become such a integral part of these new characters recently in the past couple of months, as well as the new card sets we've been getting, which, as I've mentioned, the power creep level with these card sets recently has skyrocketed on top of the characters. So it's been pretty crazy, especially when you combine the two. But Nakaruru is another character that loves crits, and that's something you see across her kit. However, one of the things that this character is doing that is very new to this banner is them promoting these characters going out and just spamming their finishers left and right. So with this character, she's going to have two very important cores that we need to talk about. First up, she has Nature Priestess. This decreases her finisher skill cooldown by 2 seconds whenever an active skill is used, and applies a symbol to the target for 7 seconds upon dealing physical damage. Physical damage is another big deal with these new characters, and another reason why that's the power creep in the game has gone from, you know, for all these things like explosion to this type of physical crit type meta. And so that's where you're really seeing this big jump recently. Now, she's going to deal additional damage equal to 300% of attack when attacking a target with a symbol, another huge multiplier, and increases physical damage received by targets with a symbol by 75%. This right here is what her bread is going to be buttered by. This is the most important core in her kit. Absolutely incredible core. You see the multipliers there. You see the fact that this character is ramping up her damage in a major way, but that skill cooldown decrease to your finishers is very important, because that means that in things such as Guild Raid or anywhere where you're going to need to buy yourself time, this character is going to be able to do things that are going to exceed most other characters just because she can prolong the fight the way that she can. So that is something that is very important to note about this character. Again, spamming finishers with this banner is a big deal, and this character is a goddess when it comes to being able to do so. She has a nice long 3PG finisher for the new card finisher that's on the current banner, so that is a definite must-have and is going to get you the most mileage out of her. Now, when it comes to together with Mama Haha, immune to stun and petrify and fear, very important CCs to be immune to. She preserves 50% of her damage received, recovering 10% of the preserved HP every time an active skill lands. Now, this character also has that damage immunity there for 4 seconds when her HP is 20% or less on a cooldown of 10 seconds. But I will say, if you had to dock her points anywhere, it would be in her survivability. At low star levels, like low awakening levels, she's not necessarily going to be the character that is going to go in there and tank the most hits in things like Guild Raid, Colossal, so on and so forth. You will have to be cognizant. You can't just be brain dead when you're playing her at lower stars. She's not like some characters where they're just so tanky that you don't even have to worry about doing anything. You can just smash buttons. But it does take a little bit of finesse, but at the same time, it is not anything that I would dock too many points for, considering the fact that this character is as busted as she is. So she does have a PvP exclusive that removes buffs from the target. However, that isn't necessarily going to be pertinent to anything outside of PvP, so we can leave that alone. Really, what's worth mentioning here is going to be all these other things going on in these cores, which are going to be so important to her. And then, of course, she also has the atypical 30% power charge rate increase, increases to things such as her crit rate and her critical hit damage. So overall, good stuff. Now, let's talk about other things here. There is going to be a debate in the community for a while going forward on these characters when it comes to where you should end up just stopping on them as far as how much you invest. I always say if it's a favorite, you invest however much you want. If it's your favorite, do it. You never know when they're going to come back or if they're going to come back at all. As we saw with this latest rerun batch, it doesn't guarantee at the end of the year that you're going to see every character come back. And so if you miss a character, you may not see them again. Keep that in mind, or at least it could be a very, very long time. So with that being said, however, I would recommend with these characters on this banner, and I might even make a video dedicated to kind of talking about the banner more in depth on this, and I'm going to have some footage in this video at the end of Nakaruru just so you guys know, so you kind of see her in action. However, really with this character and with Haomaru respectively, both of them are so strong, you could end up just getting them to A1 or A2, maybe even go to 1 pity just to see what you get. Unless you get totally shafted, you should be able to at least awaken one of them, at which point I would say that you're probably going to be okay in most instances, because these characters are outputting so much damage that unless you're in a place in the game where you need a specific type of dot, or you need a specific CP level, you don't necessarily have to worry about them not going in and just absolutely running through anything. If you're a new player and you have an A1 Nakaruru or Haomaru, you're probably going to be able to clear most of the Immortals. Spider Robot is a joke to Nakaruru. Against Guildraid and Inferno, again, a joke for both of these characters. Colossal, giant joke for Nakaruru, as well as both of these characters. Really like it there. And in general, there's a lot of content that you could clear with just an A1 of either of these characters. So with that said, there is always going to be a point to be made to get them to A5 and fully max them out if you have the ability to do so that you can get her concentrate, because she does have concentrate on her kit. It's right here. So as you guys can see, this guy right here is going to be the one that is going to be the most wanted when it comes to any of these EX skills on any character. And this is going to be for her S1 on her kit, which, you know, is fine. But really with this character, you don't necessarily need it. It just adds on to the absolute stupidity that this character brings along with her. So when it comes to the build, I would say as far as the investment level, you'd be fine on a budget, or if you really want to overclock her, I think she is definitely going to be a future-proof character like any of these characters recently have been, because they're going to be able to just keep clearing all this other content because we don't get enough new content to where they're going to get phased out anytime soon. So that's kind of where it's at right now. Now, when it comes to the kit though, as far as her actual skills, this character is going to have a lot of things she does well. So when it comes to the S1, this is going to be a derived skill. However, what's important here, besides the fact that this is going to give you your hyper armor, and it is going to be able to give you that interrupt when it's standing or airborne, those are good things to have on any skill. But the big thing here is she decreases damage received from burn, poison, bleed, shock, chill, and starlight for all of your team members, including herself, by 95% for 8 seconds upon using this on a cooldown of 20 seconds. This character, for things like Deimos base, is going to be very, very important for a lot of people. And again, I'm telling you guys, if you want to get a low investment version of this character, you're going to be able to get a lot of legs out of her. She's just that good. And that is a super important, very useful effect to have on that S1. And again, remember, that S1 is the one that is affected by your concentrate, so there is something to be said about that in things such as Deimos base. 95% for 8 seconds is a ton. And with this character being able to go in there and stop the clock so much, you'll be able to get that kind of on a loop very easily if you really want to go about it that way. So that's important. Now, other things here on the S2. This is going to have physical damage equal to 300% of attack upon landing a skill, and increases her critical rate by 40% and attack by 120% for 15 seconds. That's a long, long time. So this thing is pretty much always going to be active. Very, very good. This right here, again, more damage. This character really just does so much, but all of it comes back around to damage, right? So on the S3, she can use this when attacked to limited to standing or airborne. So you have a standing or airborne interrupt here on the S3, and then you have a standing or airborne interrupt on the S1. So keep that in mind. You do have your interrupts here. Now, when it comes to anything else, she increases her critical damage by 50% for 15 seconds upon using this, and upon landing it on a target, they become dazed for 6 seconds, which decreases their damage dealt by 70% and their defense by 80% on a cooldown of 10 seconds. So again, guys, you're almost always going to have that active. And then she has another source of hyper armor here. So she has hyper armor on the S3, which is really, really nice. But then if you take a look up here, she's also going to have hyper armor on the S1. This character does have ways of protecting herself, and these are interrupts. But speaking of interrupts, her finisher, because you're firing this off so often, this is very important, is also going to be an interrupt. And it's limited to standing, airborne, or knocked down. So this right here, you can pretty much fire it off anytime you want. This makes this character very unpredictable, especially in a climate right now where we have things where we can just fully charge all the bars of our finishers and just be able to throw these things out there because of our card sets. This is very good. 90% chance to reset the active skill cooldowns for your active skills when using a skill, and increases critical rate by 20% and critical damage by 80% upon using it, and resets when tagging out. Again, guys, this character is absolutely bonkers, stupid, broken, and I don't think that you need me to keep reminding you of that. Now, that's the kit. Let's talk about what I'm going to be showing you guys. I'm going to show you guys a run against Omega Rugal, and I'm going to show you guys part of the run. I'm not going to show you the whole run because honestly, they get very long when this character stalls so much. However, the amount of damage this character puts up at A1, think back to all those videos that we did on Devil Jin, on Omega Rugal, the EX version, all these characters that have come out, and then compare those at A5 to this. Just saying, guys, do your homework, because my god. So as far as my build, I do have my points invested in attack, because of course I do. And when it comes to the build, I can go over a few things here. So first and foremost, obviously, I have skipped some banners recently to save, so I do not have the new card sets. However, the Athena set, if you have it from the last banner, use it on Nakaruru. That is going to be the best card set for this character, arguably, outside of the current card set on the Samurai Shodown stuff. So make sure that if you have the Athena set, you slot that in as the card set. Now, I'm a Po boy from a Po family. I don't have that. So, unfortunately, all I can go with is what I have, and right now what I'm using is this set, and as you guys will see in the footage, you're still gonna do bonkers damage, right? Absolutely bonkers. When it comes to your finisher, you definitely want the new finisher. I would recommend for the effect, you want the crit rate one, or the crit one. That's going to be the one that you're going to want the most. And then from there, you can go skill and then attack if you really want to. It really isn't going to make a giant measurable difference, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, but if you have the crit one, definitely go with that. Other things here, as far as the option cards, you have plenty of options. I'm going with these. Overall, though, like I said, you do have plenty of different options in here that if you really wanted to, like you could use this card right here. That's another really good one. But overall, guys, I'm just using what I have available to me right now, which is these, and these have been absolutely great. They're absolutely incredible. As I'm sure you guys are aware, this is going to be for your EX fighters to increase their critical damage, and then it does have that skill cooldown decrease, as you always want on any of your options. This one's going to be for your crit rate, and again, skill cooldown. So very, very standard stuff. And when it comes to anything else in here, pretty basic, not much to talk about. But Athena set is definitely what you want. Unless you have the Sam Show set, then you can use that if you really want to, but the Athena set will be a little bit better. And then when it comes to the option cards, you can pretty much just pick any of the standard good EX option cards, right? Now, when it comes to the stones, all I have on here is going to be the current EX Volume 7 Circle Stone. I don't really have anything else on here, obviously, because she's only at A1, but at the end of the day, you can mix and match these. I really do think that you're not going to really want the EX Volume 7 stones for the hex or the square anyway for her. I think that there's better stuff out there. Probably want to go with some other crit stones or something that is going to be a little bit better than those, because I'm not that impressed by the effects on those current stones, but this one right here is still very good because it gives you that critical damage, and you want that. But overall, you guys, this character in almost every mode right now is just an absolute behemoth. and it really is something to behold to see the amount of damage she's outputting. Again, guys, you'll see it in the footage. This character is impressive. I'm sure you already knew that, but I just wanted to go ahead and throw my name in the hat as somebody who is a giant supporter of her, because as I'm sure you guys saw in that video when I pulled her, like I mentioned earlier, I love this character, and I'm very happy to see her in the place that she's at, especially considering the fact that her fess on that unified banner had been there and been kind of wallowing for years, and it's nice to see her get proper representation the way that she deserves it. But anyway, you guys, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Have you pulled for Nakaruru? Are you planning on pulling for Nakaruru? If you have pulled for her, what did you get her up to, and how do you feel about her? Let me know in the comment section down below. But until the next one, you guys enjoy the footage, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Continue.